Where were we here?
I don't know.
A division showdown with the Falcons and Saints, Mickey.
No, hold on. Titans and Steelers.
Oh,
Third game.
I didn't mean to pass.
Well, on that
you
sequence.
know, I've always been a little bit partial to the Steelers. I stand corrected.
Certainly.
And we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, Heinz Field, Ben Double G Roethlisberger.
Yeah, let's just give a shout out to Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know him here in the studio.
Steelers!
We know him as the Double Jew, and I'll just point out briefly why. Roth, although he's inserted an extraneous E in burger, Roethlisberger. And I love Jewish people. In fact, I'm Jewish myself. Did you know that about me, Joey?
Really?
Really?
I didn't know Hushmanzada was a Jewish name.
Well, yeah, I'm sporting the TJ. This is just the jersey. No, it's not a Jewish name. But there are plenty of Jewish names, and on a future segment, we're going to talk about NFL owners and find out how many of them are Jewish.
You know,
Future
I guess
segment.
they, and you know, your affinity toward, or your love for, or your, you said, you know, your likeness to the Jewish people.
I'm Jewish.
They were smart enough to start out. They were smart enough to start out borrowing a lot of money, and they became. That's why they got into the banker industry, correct?
Well, the story, brief history lesson here, hopefully not as long as the last one. But anyhow, the reason Jews got into the money lending business is they were prohibited in many countries from owning land. So what were they supposed to do? They get 100 pounds together, they lend it out, charge a little bit of interest, do it again. Then we got into fractional reserve banking and the Federal Reserve, but that was years later. And I'll say that certain other families, Rothschild, Morgan, etc., were also involved in this.
JP,
See?
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller, of course, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we didn't invent banking, but we were kind of pressed into it on account of we couldn't own land in a lot of countries.
Hey, Mickey.
Hmm.
Your people were the original Jews.
We are the Jews. Yeah, or you could say that. The Jews were the original Jews. I know, we wrote the book.
You wrote the book on juice.
Yeah.
You owe me the juice.
The juice?
It's compounding as we're speaking. Pay me my money down.
I know, see, and it's used all over the world now.
So what do we got here? We've got the
Titans and
Pittsburgh Steelers, favored by 7.
I know.
They're at home against the Titans. And anything we need to update that we haven't already spoke about the players on either one of these teams?
Well, we haven't said much today, but back in May we addressed them both. I think this is more, the line is a combination of the Steelers by 7 at home, and the line is a statement about how good the Steelers have traditionally been and how bad the Titans have been recently, which is kind of bad. Who knows? I don't know. Any team that's got Big Ben at home, his winning record at home is fabulous. I couldn't quote it to you, but he usually wins his home games.
Okay.
The
I'm glad to hear
Steelers, you know, last year they lost to the Browns for the first time in forever. Then they lost to the Ravens at home, and then they beat them on the road. They're not used to losing to those teams in conference. I don't know if they beat the Bengals.
Oh, even
They're
your
trying to come back.
even your father's football, or your father's you know, Steelers or Browns fans, or even almost into your grandfather will tell you that Pittsburgh hasn't lost too many times to the Brownies or any of those teams. But to me, you know, every week in the NFL, for lack of a better term, there's a couple of games that just, I don't know, they're just like trash games to me. They don't really mean anything to me. And when I'm sorry, but when I look
I thought you were a Steelers fan.
well, I have made it clear that with the unfortunate changes that they've made, I don't see any stability, and I don't see any reason that they're going to be the Steelers of ye old, Nigel. I don't see that happening, or they're not going to be the Steelers that we're used to seeing. I mean, the fastest man in the NFL is Mike Wallace, and he was part of the receiver corps, and he's down in Miami right now, and he has an injury that, of course, the Dolphins are definitely concerned about. But in the preseason game I saw the other day, he's on the sideline, but I believe, and don't quote me what the injury is, but I know for sure that he should be returning to the regular season. So he's gone. Roethlisberger had to go to Emmanuel Sanders' defense and talk to Mike Tomlin and talk to the Rooney family about keeping Emmanuel Sanders because he wanted him part of his receiving core. They've got a bunch of rookie running backs, Mickey, because their main powerhouse last year was Rashard Mendenhall. He's down in Arizona. He's down in the desert, my friend.
Transitions. Yes. Well, for stability, the Rooneys still own it. Mike Tomlin still coaches the Steelers, and Big Ben is still the quarterback. So, from that point of view, they do have stability. But yeah, new running back. That's a big deal at any time. Fortunately, they're not trying to break in a new head coach or anything, and that would just be chaotic.
It would be the icing on the cake for what you just said. It would be a chaotic disaster. The other piece to that, which is a significant piece, is we constantly keep hearing from many critics, and we have for at least the last 2 years, that their defense is getting too old.
Yeah.
So
they've been vulnerable to the pass the last few years.
Yeah. So when you add that all together, do I love players like Ryan Clark and Troy Polamalu and James Harrison? Which there's another one. He's not with the team anymore. Where's he at? He's over there in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They allowed, he's been traded over there. So, too many holes, my friend. Too many holes.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns, right?
I don't even. So I go back to my original point. The way I look at it, yes, it's a trash game. I'm not high on the Titans at all. I see them mediocre at best when you look at the teams in the NFL, and all the reasons I just gave for the Steelers. They may barely win that game. I don't even think they're going to cover the spread, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, 7-point spread. I was recently looking at last year's Titans scores. They had a game where they gave up 51 points at home to the Chicago Bears, which did not have a particularly strong offense. I don't know what the Titans have done in the offseason, I'll confess that right now, but they had a long way to go from where they left off last year.
I blame on myself. I'm guilty too. Kind of because of the way I just expressed that I feel. I wasn't really paying attention too much either. Jake Locker, I'll throw that name out there, and the fact that I throw the name out there, maybe it does conjure up some images for you. What kind of quarterback do you think he is, or is going to be, or what potential does he have, Mickey?
Good Lord. I don't know. Check in with us after the game. We'll be able to tell you exactly who won and what the score was, and from that you'll know who you should have bet on and how good Jake Lockyer is, at least in week 1. We can always say that.
Yes.
That's our fallback position here at the Joey and Mickey Pro Football Show. Remember we told you back in May, we don't speculate, we don't fool around. We wait till we know something before we tell you. And when we do speculate, which is rare, we tell you, right now, we're about to speculate.
This is dynamite, because the way the show should really start is you're now almost ready to become privy to the greatest NFL football sports betting team in the world. They've gone 100-0 for the last 2 years. They've never lost a bet. They've covered the spread every time. And now bring out Joey and Mickey, the Monday prediction football squad.
The Monday armchair quarterback, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so you can't go wrong. But you will learn a lot about football if you follow us.
You will.
Yes,
you will. I don't have much more to say about the Titans and Steelers.
Me neither.
I said a lot about the Steelers. You're right, I do like them. I do pay attention to them. The Titans, CJ3, I guess he's worth bringing up. CJ2K, Chris Johnson, you got to admit, the big question mark is for the Titans, and it's worth talking about, is he going to have a bounce back year? Are we going to see Chris Johnson of old, or what?
Well, when he's on, and when his offensive line is on, he's among the best in the game. He had, 1,500, 1,600 yards rushing a few years ago.
Yeah.
He was the heart of their offense, the strength of their offense, and that's a good question.
Of
course, it helps when your team also has a pretty believable and capable passing game. It helps make it easy for the run game.
Oh, always. Always, from a confidence standpoint and otherwise, the balance of plays that you're going to run and plays that you're going to pass. So that's the scary part, because neither one of us have been impressed enough by their receiver core that we know any of these guys.
Right.
So what does that say? I think it speaks loud volumes.
They haven't made it into the Joey and Mickey Pro Football radar screen yet.
The last thing I want to say is Chris Johnson, CJ2K. I mean, hey, they gave you a nickname, okay? And it's not easy to get a nickname on any level. It doesn't matter whether you're working in a factory or whether you're some guy that's working in a cemetery. Nicknames are obviously pretty special. And he was in conversations just a couple of years ago. Same conversations, names like Adrian Peterson and some of the other better running backs in the NFL were mentioned. So there's how much he's slid. Okay?
He's got loads of talent. He's showing it to us. Can he come back again in 2013? We're going to find out starting September 8th.